The Arctic is not a place humans were designed to survive. Temperatures can plummet so low that exposed skin freezes solid in mere minutes. It's a vast, unforgiving landscape of ice and wind. And yet, against all odds, a group of 28 people managed to survive there for nearly 2 years. What's truly strange is this: they had no modern technology, no satellites, no constant resupply drops, and they weren't superhumans. They were ordinary people thrown into an extraordinary, life-threatening situation. So the real question isn't just how they did it, but what did they understand that so many other, better-equipped expeditions failed to grasp? The Arctic doesn't usually kill you instantly, like a sudden fall. It's a slow, methodical predator. It kills through a creeping combination of cold, hunger, and the quiet accumulation of small mistakes. In this environment, food doesn't exist in ways we're used to. You can't just go to a grocery store or forage for berries. Every single movement, every step, drains enormous amounts of precious energy. And a single wrong decision might not seem fatal today, but its consequences will catch up to you in a few weeks when you're weaker and have fewer options. This is a place where everyday logic, the common sense we rely on, begins to fail completely. Many expeditions before them failed for reasons that, on the surface, sound perfectly reasonable. They prioritized lean meat and actively avoided animal fat, thinking it was unhealthy. They moved constantly, always pushing forward, desperately trying to find a way out of the endless ice. They clung tightly to their civilized routines and ways of thinking, trying to impose their own order on a world that follows none. It all sounds logical, but in the Arctic, being reasonable doesn't always mean staying alive. In fact, it can be the very thing that gets you killed. So, what was the secret? It starts with a fundamental misunderstanding of the human body in extreme cold. In a freezing environment, heat equals life. It's that simple. The body doesn't die from hunger first. It dies from not having enough energy to generate warmth. Once your core temperature drops, everything else starts to shut down. And this is where so many explorers made a fatal mistake. They feared fat. They brought with them the belief that lean meat was healthier, a notion from a world of abundance. In the Arctic, that belief is a death sentence. The 28 survivors understood this. They didn't just eat to feel full, they ate to stay warm. They actively prioritized animal fat over lean meat, consuming it in quantities that would seem shocking back home. They followed the survival knowledge of the indigenous peoples who had thrived in these lands for centuries, not the advice from textbooks written in warm, comfortable offices. For them, fat wasn't just food, it was survival fuel. It was the dense, high-calorie energy source needed to power their internal furnace against the relentless cold. This was a simple, brutal truth that many civilized expeditions tragically refused to accept. Their second key to survival was stillness. They didn't move much. They didn't take reckless risks or try to cover vast distances. In the Arctic, every movement equals heat loss. Every calorie burned walking is a calorie that can't be used to keep your heart beating and your body warm. The more you move, the colder you get, and the more you need to eat. It's a vicious cycle. So, instead of trying to escape their predicament, they chose to stay put, to conserve their energy, to endure. From the outside, it might have looked like cowardice or inaction, but it was the strategic choice that kept them alive. They hunkered down, built shelters, and waited, transforming their camp into a fortress of survival rather than a temporary stop on a desperate journey. And finally, they understood the absolute necessity of discipline and community. No one acted alone. No one gave in to their emotions or selfish impulses. In an extreme environment, the group is a single organism. One person breaking the rules endangers everyone. A single impulsive decision, like eating extra rations or wandering off alone, can trigger a chain reaction, a disaster that unfolds over days and weeks. They survived not because any one of them was stronger or braver than the others, but because they were collectively more disciplined. They followed a strict routine, shared resources with absolute fairness, and made decisions as a group, based on logic and experience, not fear or hope. History loves to celebrate boldness. We tell stories of daring crossings, heroic risks, and individuals who single-handedly conquer the impossible. But this story reveals a different, quieter kind of heroism. It teaches us that sometimes survival isn't about pushing forward. It's about slowing down. It's about abandoning heroic, individualistic thinking and embracing careful, collective endurance. It's not dramatic. It doesn't make for a thrilling movie scene. And because of that, these kinds of stories are often ignored. We like to believe that technology will always save us, that our advanced gear can shield us from any danger. We believe that sheer willpower and a positive mindset can overcome any obstacle. But the Arctic teaches a very different, very humbling lesson. It teaches that understanding the environment is far more important than willpower. It shows that adaptation is more effective than resistance. There are still places on this earth where humans do not dominate nature, where we are visitors who must obey its rules or perish. So it leaves us with a fascinating question. If a group of modern humans, with all our gadgets and deeply ingrained habits, were placed in that same situation, would we survive because of our technology? Or would we perish because our habits, our fear of fat, our obsession with constant progress, our individualism have made us forget the fundamental rules of survival? Think about it. Thanks for watching. If you found this story as compelling as I did, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit the bell so you don't miss our next exploration into the extremes of human survival.